Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar on understanding how to read your remittance advice summary for FIG doctors. This has been a topic of frustration that we've heard time and time again, and we're so glad to help address it. Let me start by introducing myself. I'm Maral Sanassian, the Director of Client Success at DoctorCare. DoctorCare is the largest provider of billing and practice support for over 2,500 physicians across Canada. On average, we have helped doctors recover $25,000 to $30,000 of revenue per year. Our solutions and services are designed to help doctors ensure that they are maximizing their revenue, improving patient care, and growing their practice. One of the most common things we hear from doctors is that they have no idea how to read the elusive remittance advice, the RA. The RA summary is essentially a pay stub for doctors. And it is important to understand it because it provides insights into your billing and helps you make decisions to maximize your revenue. So today, our goal is to provide you with a high-level understanding of your RA summary and to highlight some areas of it that will help you drive some improvement in your FIG practice. Let's start with an overview of the remittance advice summary. So what is it? The remittance advice is a monthly document provided by the payer, the Ministry of Health, to confirm the service codes that were submitted and were paid. Where is it? The RA can be found monthly in your MC-EDT account and in your EMR. So your RA summary shows you the activity from the last month, as well as year-to-date performance in many key areas that we'll discuss. Typically, your EMR is set up to retrieve it and process the information so that it's usable for you. As you know, the RA document is very long and could be well over 50 pages. The majority of the pages are your billings from the previous month that look like a bunch of code that is unreadable. The RA summary can be found at the end of the document, and this is where the real valuable information can be found. The RA summary is quite robust, and there are about 12 sections that we've listed here. The good news is that you don't really need to understand all of them. Over the years, we've gotten many requests from doctors who have asked us to explain every part of the RA to them. However, after going through the document, it quickly becomes so dry and painful that the doctor changed their minds and say, okay, just tell me what I need to know and what matters. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to highlight the sections in the RA summary. These areas are also the main sections that we summarize for our clients in a more concise way on a quarterly basis as part of the practice care service, which allows them to drive meaningful changes in their billings and their revenue. Here are the key sections of your RA summary that we want to focus on today. The first section is the individual payment summary report. This report provides a breakdown of the monthly deposit payment type and is a summary of the summary RA. In general, it breaks out the amount of money you've been paid for each of the categories mentioned on the screen. The individual payment summary report breaks down the deposit number into various payment categories. If you add up all these payments in this section and your total claims paid in your EMR, it will equal to your deposit. You can also find your total claims paid total later in the RA summary in the physician payment discount summary report. Overall, this section is useful because it provides a quick snapshot of the breakdown of your monthly deposit with everything that's not related to your day-to-day claims. The next section is the Comprehensive Care Capitation Summary Report. This section refers to the capitation you would receive because you're in an eligible payment model. It could be ACCM, FIG, FO, or FIN. Since you're in a family health group, a FIG, it's broken down by age and gender based on a daily rate. Now, this is only for your rostered patients. So the patients that the ministry considers are on your roster and that are enrolled to you. There's a chart in the RA in this section that will break down all of your rostered patients by age, group, and sex. It ranges from 4 cents per day as a 14-year-old male to 25 cents per day as a 90-year-old female. Here's a screenshot on the right of what it looks like in the RA. The key insight is that your monthly roster report provides more detail on this section. It's a separate file, and it lists out all the patients who are considered rostered to you. One of the most important things that we reinforce with our clients is that prudent roster management is an important part of optimizing FIG revenue. You need to make sure you are seeing who is being added onto your roster every month and who is falling off. In general, capitation refers to the income that the physician will be paid whether they work or not. So in essence, monthly pay that is not tied directly to your visits. Let's walk through the details here. Each patient age group is broken out in the first column. For example, ages 0 to 4, and then 5 to 9, etc. The next column lists the number of patients who have been rostered that fall into each age range. Now, the next column lists the ministry capitation rate that they pay for each patient in that age range. As I already mentioned, it ranges from 4 cents per day as a 14-year-old, as you can see, to 25 cents per day as a 90-year-old female, for example. The column after that is called the member days, and it's simply the calculation of the number of days in the month multiplied by the number of patients in that age range. The last column is the amount paid, which is simply a calculation of the number of days multiplied by the capitation rate for that day. Although much more relevant in other capitation models like the FO, the Family Health Organization, it is still important to review your roster report on a monthly basis when you are in a FIG. The average physician loses many patients per month, and this lost capitation adds up if you're not paying attention to it. We've had many experiences while working with physicians who have lost hundreds of patients off of their roster because they were rostered at a walk-in or elsewhere. That is why it is important to keep reviewing your roster to make sure that the right patients that you are seeing are on there and enrolled to your practice. Moving on to the preventive care bonus accumulations and payments. The preventive care bonus section represents your achievement in this annual bonus category. This bonus has been around for more than 10 years, so I'm sure you all know about it. But it pertains to the 5 preventive care screenings listed on the slide: influenza, pap smear, mammography, childhood immunizations, and colorectal screening. And this all represents a potential total of $12,800 per year. Now, some key insights that we want to talk about is that even though this is pretty straightforward, it's very important to review this section to see if you actually got paid for your submissions for these bonuses. In terms of best practices for maximizing these bonuses, we generally recommend population-based screening methods, such as phoning overdue patients, as well as situational-based screening, such as updating your EMR workflow so that it flags those patients that are overdue for screening when they're in front of you in the office. We also highly recommend using the Cancer Care Ontario Screening Activity Report, also known as the SAR, since it tracks patient screening based on their health cards within the healthcare system. The next section we want to talk about is the individual special premium and bonuses. There are several bonuses paid throughout the year that a physician is eligible for. In this section, it outlines the summary of your current performance on these special premiums and bonuses compared to last year's achievements. There are 5 categories: labor and delivery, home visits, palliative care, long-term care, and primary care, serious mental illness. It's really important to understand a few key things with respect to this section on premiums and bonuses. We're going to go through 3 of them today. Number 1 is the bonus threshold for each section. As you can see via the chart on the right, each minimum service threshold has a different payment amount. So for example, the palliative care bonus will pay $2,000 once the physician bills an eligible code against those 4 patients. Let's say the physician has seen 10 unique patients now. Once the 10th patient has been billed with the eligible code, this physician will receive an additional $3,000, which will come to a grand total of $5,000 for the palliative care bonus. The second insight I want to focus on is the billing triggers. Each of these categories is triggered by a different set of billing codes. We found that a lot of family physicians are doing the work for these categories, but because they're not billing the right codes, they're not getting any of these bonuses paid to them. For example, the PCSMI or serious mental illness bonus is triggered by a tracking code. As long as the bipolar and schizophrenic patients you care for are on your roster, they're eligible to be billed with the appropriate tracking code that will then count towards this bonus. Our third insight that we want to focus on is timing. These special premiums and bonuses reset on April 1st every ministry fiscal year. So it is important to know where you stand throughout the year to make sure that you are not missing out on bonuses that you could be earning. Lastly, I want to spend some time talking about faux opportunities, specifically the transition to a capitation model like the faux. Right now, as you know, there is no free movement into the faux model unless you are in an underserviced area or if you replace a physician who exits the faux model. However, if you are interested in moving to a faux, please let us know. We manage and work with over 100 faux groups across Ontario and often have the opportunity to either replace physicians who are retiring or add physicians to groups. Also, you may not be aware of the underserviced areas since the ministry changes the criteria every so often, and they often add regions in the underserviced list based on demographics. We are always on top of that and can help figure out whether you're in an underserviced area or if there are any vacancies nearby. We have developed methodologies to accurately predict your faux income based on your current roster and billing patterns. So if you're ever curious to see what your change in income would be in a faux model, please do not hesitate to reach out. Every doctor's scenario is different, and that is why we like to use your data to determine which model is appropriate for you. That is the end of our webinar. On behalf of DoctorCare, thank you for joining us today for this webinar. If you have any questions or have feedback, please feel welcome to contact me anytime. My contact information is listed on this slide. Have a great day.